Is it chips for the ceviche? Action! Hey guys, Fermín Nuñez, executive chef at Suerte in East Austin, Texas. Today we're gonna be cooking some vermilion snapper. We're gonna be making 2 dishes out of it. We're gonna be going Baja flavors, ceviche style. Then we're gonna go to the other coast of Mexico and make seared fish with salsa veracruzana. The first step of butchering a fish is knowing that you have to use the whole damn thing, except for the fins. Fins are no fun. The bones, we'll be using it for a stock that'll go into the veracruzana sauce. The rest of the fish will go in your belly. First thing first, we take the head off. Trying to get as close to the actual head as possible. When we take the head off, make sure there's no fins. Boom! Now that our head is finless, throw it in a little pot. Now I'm gonna make an incision right here. Cut all the way to the tail, as close to the skin as possible without going to the other side. Now we flip. I'm just gonna follow along these lines in one clean stroke. Taking away the belly. This fillet we're gonna use for veracruzana. We're just gonna literally cook it with the skin on. We're gonna get that really crispy. And then this one we're gonna turn into a ceviche. So first things first, I'm gonna start with just cold water and start bringing that to a simmer. From start to finish, it should take about 30 to 45 minutes. No more, definitely no less. For the ceviche, you're not gonna wanna eat the skin because the skin is gonna be very chewy and it's gonna make for a not fun ceviche. In this household, we only make fun ceviches. So now I'm gonna start cutting my fillet. I wanna go about 1.5-inch-ish. You can definitely do this with shrimp. Shrimp is very easily available. Any type of sea bass, any white fish is gonna be great with a ceviche. So now that we broke down our fish, we'll be making the veracruzana sauce. So now the first step is cutting some bacon. This is not traditional at all, but everybody knows that tomatoes and bacon go really well together. So now we're gonna take our bacon. We're gonna go over to our cast iron and low heat, drop that bacon in and just wait for it to render. So while the bacon's rendering, I'm gonna start cutting the rest of my veggies. Some of the scraps, like I said in the past, they're gonna go straight into our fish stock. The veggies that we're gonna be using for this dish is onions, garlic, some spring onions of the moment, of the season, serranos, tomato paste, tomato salsa that I made, olives, capers, and maybe some salt. We're breaking down an onion. So we're just gonna let the onion talk to us. When you get to a spot where you're not comfortable with the onion, you say, no, I'm in control, onion, and then you flip the onion and you tell the onion who the boss is. And you say, I'm the boss, onion. I'm the boss. We're gonna take some of the garlic and slice it very, very thin. We're not putting the garlic in the same bowl as the onions because this recipe is all about layering, as opposed to how you would find a traditional veracruzana sauce where you kind of just put everything together in one pot, let it stew. We're chefs, we're professionals, so we're gonna layer all the flavors as we go. Now we're gonna take the green onion, and this tops we're gonna just lightly choppy. Guess where we're gonna throw this scraps that we choppy? Guess it right. And the fish stock. Now our fish stock is getting the attention it deserves. We're gonna keep on slicing. I'm gonna start cutting some of these olives. I think these are Serignola olives. If you don't have these, just find any green olive. Don't make the mistake I made and get an olive that's pitted. So I'm wasting a lot of things right now. Maybe we can edit this, maybe not. Maybe I can just look like a bad chef. You know what these olives are great for? For snacking when you're drinking wine in a hammock, because hammock time is awesome. So right now I'm not getting as much fat as I was hoping from my bacon. I'm gonna add a little bit of oil to this. I'm using avocado oil right now, not because I'm fancy, but because that is the one I had at the restaurant and I brought it home. So now that we pull our bacon from the cast iron, we're gonna start making the rest of the veracruzana. We're probably gonna kill the heat on our fish stock and just let it coast, let all the flavors just kind of hang out, sit down, chill, relax. We're gonna turn our pan to medium-high heat. You're gonna add the garlic and you're gonna get it toasty. We're gonna crank the heat up. You wanna see a lot more of that color, just kind of get a whiff. If it smells a little bit raw, if it's still pungent to the nose, it's not ready. If it smells like toasty, like you wish there was a candle named after toasted garlic, you're ready. And always when you're smelling, remember to close your eyes and open your heart. Oh yeah, we're there. I'm gonna throw it in all my onions. The garlic is a little bit darker than it was before, but it's not burnt. If we don't stir, then we'll become burnt territory. Now it's a good time to add my green onions. Stir that around. Right now, I'm gonna kind of move all my things to the side. Add a little bit of more oil to my pan, just pretty much in the middle, hoping that it stays there. And then I'm gonna fry my tomato paste. When you fry it, it's gonna definitely get more of that aroma, more roasted, that intense tomato flavor that we're all looking for. And you can tell I'm just using it on one side of the pan. My onions have just kind of taken a chill vibes on this side, kind of more like a hammock territory. Our tomato paste is definitely darker in color. We're gonna do a taste right now. Definitely doesn't taste like bad ketchup at this point. It just tastes like roasted, charred tomatoes. Now we're gonna break the social distance between the tomato paste and the onions and bring them all together. We're gonna add this charred tomato salsa that I made at the restaurant before. Just some charred tomatoes, charred onions, some dried red peppers, a little bit of fresh green peppers. Now we're gonna add our fish stock. You can totally use whatever stock you have on hand. Just try not to use water because water doesn't have a lot of flavor. And this dish is all about the layering of flavors. So now we're just waiting to cook this out for about 5 to 10 minutes to get it to a nice thick consistency, which we're actually not very far from right here. So now we're gonna get our fish out. We're only gonna get the fillet. Where did I put it? Oh, right on top of the beer, huh? We're gonna get the fillet out. One thing that I definitely forgot about this one was to take the pin bones. Everybody hates at the restaurant because nobody wants to be the guy that forgot a pin bone in the fish. We're gonna cook this in a very professional environment. I rigged my comal to now become a plancha fish cookery. We're gonna sear this fish like a professional. We're gonna oil our surface. We're gonna put it skin side down. I'm gonna start oiling. We're gonna lightly season this fish first. We're gonna make sure that our plancha is hot. You know what I'm gonna do? You have no idea. The fish is gonna hit the pan. It's obviously gonna curl up at first. I'm not gonna be a rude chef where I'm just gonna get my fish spatula and push it because that's rude. I'm gonna take the spoon that I have cold, just ice cold water, and I'm gonna lightly touch the surface of the fish so it can relax again and then lay flat. When you're putting down the fish, you wanna do this away from you. So I'm gonna go right about there. Cool. See how it's curling up? I told you it was gonna happen. And make sure you get the spoon. So when you're doing the spoon trick, you wanna make sure you lightly damp the towel, but not enough to where it's not cold anymore. Because if you don't damp the towel, you're gonna have a lot of cold particles hit the oil and it's gonna flare up. And probably your alarm is gonna go up. So now that our fish is not fighting us, right? It was getting all sassy, now it's just flat. And a little bit of the edges are starting to cook. You can see that that's gonna be really crispy and yum yum. And then it's ceviche o'clock. Boom, we're gonna cut up some avocados. Right now I'm cutting the avocado to kind of mimic the size of the fish. Now that there's avocado and fish in my bowl, I'm gonna start seasoning it. So now we're just gonna start adding whatever else we want on our ceviche. A little bit of serrano. I'm gonna take some of the spring onions and just choppy. I'm gonna add a little bit of tomatillos. It's not very usual for people to add raw tomatillos to a ceviche, but in this case, I think it adds a little bit of acid to the dish. And these ones are definitely cut a little bit smaller than the rest of the ingredients. The reason why I'm adding celery to my ceviche, because celery to me tastes a lot like salt. So this is gonna be another way of adding saltiness to the dish without just having to add salt itself, you know? And now I'm just gonna add some crushed pistachios. I'm gonna just start squeezing some limes. Now I'm gonna start letting that fish kind of come together. I'm gonna add a little bit of oil. I'm gonna taste now. I think a little bit more salt. I'm gonna add a little bit more pistachios. Gonna retaste again like a professional chef would. You know, if you're ever thinking, well, does this need more salt or not? Here's a chefy trick I have for you. Take a little bit of the stuff that you're gonna season, a little bit of salt. Add it to that, and then try it. If that tastes good, then bring the whole dish to what you just tasted, and then you're good. All right, so now we're at the finish line. We're gonna add all the bacon back into the bacon veracruzana sauce. Stir, 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 stir. We're gonna add all the olives that you definitely got pitted, and we're gonna add capers to it too. And now we're gonna taste. I don't know if it needs salt.
Do the chefy trick.
I'm gonna do that thing that we talked about. Just a little bit of salt. Just a little bit. We're gonna finish up the ceviche. Add a little bit of cilantro. We're gonna have a little cilantro tree right there. We're gonna bring a little bit more over here. And why don't we just put some right there? Just go crazy with all the fun herbs. This one is some mint, some oregano. Cilantro is usually the funnest one to have. Or if you wanna have just oregano, that's totally cool too. The one thing that I would definitely not just do by itself is mint, because then it's gonna taste like a ceviche cocktail. Ew. And at this point, you're probably wondering what this bag is. This is a bag of chips to eat with your ceviche. So now your ceviche is ready. You wanna make sure you have a plate, garnished with a little bit of serranos, some cilantro, maybe serve it with some lime too. Wrapping it up now, we made 2 dishes from 1 fish. Ceviche, super simple, super straightforward, acidic. The fish is fresh, it's raw, it's delicious. This one, I can definitely eat the whole thing right now for dinner. This was definitely not the sauce that I ate growing up as a fish. This was definitely not the sauce that I ate up growing up as a kid. Ceviche is very friendly to eat on a tostada. You can just eat it from a bowl too. In a hammock, you can definitely eat this chilling in a hammock. Could be worse. This is my way of doing 2 dishes with 1 fish. Comment below on what you're doing with your fish and if you're doing 2 different dishes, whether it's fish, pork, chicken. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Fermín here from Austin, Texas at Suerte. Thanks for watching.